What is going on, everybody, and welcome on in to episode 309 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. Again, it's the heyday for the OBR right now as we are getting ready for the NFL draft, and I can't say it enough. The NFL Draft Cave is going to be happening on the OBR again this year, so make sure you are tuned in and ready to go as we will have wall-to-wall coverage of the NFL draft, all coming up in just a couple of weeks, boys. A couple weeks till the draft. I can't even believe that that's a sentence, but here we are. We'll get into that a little bit tonight, but we've got a humongous show planned for you on Garage Beers. As again, if you're familiar with us, we know the OBR is your home for Browns coverage. But if you're familiar with us, this is your time where you get to hang out and talk about the things that we're going to talk about tonight, which include the Browns a little bit, but it's also going to include, how about the playoff push by the Columbus Blue Jackets? How about the game-saving victory or the season-saving victory they had last night? We're going to get into that. How about the ridiculous start to the season for the Cleveland Guardians? We're going to get into that. How about playoff seeding and positioning for the Cleveland Cavaliers? We're going to get into that towards the end of the show with our special guest from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Mikey McNuggets. Mike Lucas is going to join us. Don't want to miss that. We always have a good time with Mike. And like I said, we'll do a little bit on the draft. So it's a great show planned for you on episode 309, and we're glad you're here. Joining me as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Joining me, my two co-hosts. We're back. The trio is back. First, over on the east side of Cleveland, it's Chad Meyer, and out in Seattle, Washington, Joey Whalen. Boys, it's good to see all of us here. It's good to see both your faces.
Been a minute, hasn't it? I gotta say, I'm in like the middle of like the longest month-long bender of activities. Moved into a new house, very fun. Look at my awesome decor.
It's so nice.
Seattle Mariners home opener against the Guardians with my dad and my in-laws. Unreal game. Guardians home opener last week, and then I got a trip next week. I'm exhausted, boys, but I'm ready to sit in the garage, drink a beer, and talk some sports, boys.
Joey, real quick. Foods that taste better than they look.
That tastes better than they look. Oh God. Like a stew. Give me like a good pea soup or something like that.
Oh, pea soup is such a good one.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I love
Gross.
split pea soup.
Looks horrible, but it's pretty good.
All right.
What was
you
the
want
ones you
last
guys
week,
had
Ted?
from last week?
Oh, my first one was refried beans. Looks like cat vomit, but it tastes delicious.
Yeah.
You know, one hit me towards the end, but it's more like when it's alive, but it doesn't matter. But like a crab looks like a spider of the sea, and somebody's like, I think I'm going to eat that.
Yeah.
That is weird as hell. That's weird.
I can go octopus. Tentacles
Delicious.
look really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Or some sushi is still alive when you eat it, right? Some sushi is still moving when you eat it.
I had that once. Oh my God. Wildest experience. We always joke about no free ads places, but I would give a free ad. One of my favorite restaurants here in Cleveland is Ginkgo, the sushi place in Tremont. It's one of the great sushi places I've been in any city I've ever been to. And we're lucky to have it here in Cleveland. The place is awesome. But one time I went with my wife, and we always try new different things there because they will have all kinds of weird stuff there. And they brought out an appetizer, and it was some kind of like baby octopus. And we were like, yeah, let's try it. But they were still alive. They were these little blue, they were like this big. And they were like little blue octopus, and they were just on a plate, just like, and the guy was like, yeah, just eat it. And it was the single most disgusting thing I've ever had in my entire life. It did not fit the bill of your game, Chad. It looked weird, and it tasted weirder. And I had one of them, and it was a plate of like 8. I had one, and I was like, yep, well, that's the last one of those I'm ever going to eat. So yeah.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Give me meatloaf too. We don't need a loaf of meat ever, but it tastes good.
Looks like a giant turd. If you're backed up, looks like a giant turd.
Speaking of food, before we even get into our beers,
right.
Speaking of food, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole because of something I watched yesterday. I'm going to talk about later. But I went down a bit of a rabbit hole of like old shows that happened in Cleveland, like the food shows, like Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations. He did an episode in Cleveland back in like 2007. And it was so depressing. Because he went to so many of like my favorite places that just don't exist anymore.
Like what?
He walked into Sokolowski's and had just a wonderful meal at Sokolowski's.
Nice.
And it's just, to this day, one of my favorite restaurants of all time. And it doesn't exist. And just a real bummer. It was a real bummer.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Hey, are the Cavs going to fuck around and get the 3rd seed?
I mean, they could.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because they're technically, I think they're like 1 game in the standings behind the Knicks, but they're 2 games. They don't have the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay. All right.
They only have 3 games left, so they basically would have to win out, and the Knicks would have to lose out, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I was going to say, because that could change the matchup, drastically.
It would. Well, I don't know if they're going to fuck around and do anything, because I'm watching this game. They were just winning by like 18, and now with 5 minutes to go in the game, they're up by 5 because they just keep doing what they just did right here and turn the ball over, and now they're up by 3.
Let's go. They're going to go far.
I don't know what they're doing, but yeah. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it
since I haven't been on since the home opener, or first home opener. Good to present. Mike, you've seen this before, but
oh shit,
we have 1 ferry boat.
Hey, let's go.
Complete with 2 condiments, little bow and sterns.
Okay, all right.
Nice little vessel for food. It does float.
Stop it.
Michael's daughter has already taken a bath with hers.
Yep.
So
Really?
it is.
He loves it.
It is floatable.
Okay.
And it's had some nice chicken nuggets with garlic and some fries on here. So
how do you go wrong with it? How do you go wrong with it?
No, you don't.
I don't know what to do with it now, to be honest. Maybe I can like put my car keys in it.
Just use it for your bath toy.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'll use it for my bath time.
Well, like I said, again, you just brought up the Cavs. Towards the end of the show, we're going to have our buddy Mikey McNuggets, Mike Lucas from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He does a great job covering the Cavs. I think we're lucky. I think we are pretty in tight with a lot of the best people that cover the Cavs, whether it's Mike or whether it's Danny, the boys from the Chase Down, Mac. I don't know. Just so many good people that cover the Cavs, and they're all good friends of the show. So Mikey's going to come on and talk about it if they can manage to hang on and win. But that'll be a little bit later. Boys, before we get into our first official topic of the show, we got to do our Garage Beers of the Week. So why don't we throw it around the horn? Joe, you've been gone a hot minute. So why don't you lead us off? Tell us what you're drinking tonight.
Oh, yes. When the Rents were in town a couple weeks ago, we went to a couple breweries in the Ballard area, which is near Fremont, we've had Fremont Brewing on here a couple of times. This is Reuben's Brews. I got it because it was big and expensive. This is the Chocolate Box 2022 edition. This is the I'm gonna mess this up. Baharat.
Gannett.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with Baharat spices, vanilla bean, and cacao nibs.
Holy shit!
Oh my god!
This is a 13.4%er, boys. I have not put any significant dent into the bottle, so
had to be a hefty price for that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds well. I would say it sounds good, but I don't know what the hell you even said half of that.
Well,
so.
Baharat Ganache, Mike.
Yeah, it's Baharat Ganache.
Yeah,
sure.
Somebody please correct me on that.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's good though.
Agreed.
Isn't that where Frank Drebin saved the world? Baharat.
Yes, I love that. Before he comes back and is an opera singer.
Yeah.
Chad, what about you? What are you drinking?
Well, in my quest to reignite my love for beer, this mixed 6-pack continues, Mike. With Joey, I got myself a mixed 6-pack. I don't know if you listen, but I said I'm getting bored with beer. Just looking at everything in the store, looking at IPA after IPA, and like it's just oversaturated. So I decided to just do a mixed 6-pack, so I get a different beer every week now. Like I just grab single cans, and this one is from AleSmith Brewing Company. It's the Speedway Grand Prix. It's an Imperial Stout Chocolate Pecan Pie Edition.
Dang, look at you two going big and hard on the stouts.
Look at this guy, huh? It's made with pecans, vanilla, coffee, and we're back with the cocoa nips. We're back with the cocoa nipples. So here we are. It's 12%.
I don't think Nibs stands for nipples. I don't think that's what that stands for.
I don't know that you know that, but so we're just going to go with nipples. What are we talking about here? Cocoa nipples. Yep, and it's good. It's delicious. Chocolate pecan pie is one of my favorite desserts to begin with. Mother-in-law makes it every year on Thanksgiving, so I'm going to enjoy this one, boys.
Highly underrated. I think pecan pie on its own is underrated.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Chocolate pecan pie is just
to
die for. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so I actually kind of am the same way in that I just kind of raided the fridge. I don't have more than one of any kind of beer in my fridge. I think part of that is because Joe is home, so I kept going over to their house and drinking a bunch of beers and taking them with me. And I just haven't gone to the store to buy a new 4-pack or 6-pack or whatever. So it's a little bit of a smorgasbord, but I'm going to start. And I know I had a Fatheads last week, but I'm going to have another one to kick things off this week because I love the Stumbleberry, and I had one left.
Let's go. Okay. All right.
It's just so good. It's just so good. I have had more Fatheads like bumbleberries and such because they serve them at the Guardians games, and I spent my whole weekend there than I've had in a while, and they are just great. So I went with Stumbleberry, and that's what it is. So, boys, cheers to you guys. If you're hanging out with us tonight, get in the comments, join the show live, and let us know what you're drinking. But now let's get into episode 309 of the Garage Beers podcast. And again, got a lot to talk about tonight, so let's start with this. Let's start, boys, with the unbelievable start to this season for the Cleveland Guardians. Let's talk a little guards ball because, boys, let's give everybody a little recap. We talked about this gauntlet to start the season, and the gauntlet included going out to Seattle for 4 games. Seattle, a team many people are picking to go to the World Series. Then they got to go to LA, who we all know is going to win the World Series, for 3 games.
Sure.
Then they come home. They get the Cubs, who everybody is picking to win the NL Central, for 3 games. And then they get the Royals, a team that everybody's picking, that I saw, like vast majority of people I saw picking the Royals to finish ahead of the Guardians in the standings, behind the Tigers. That's what the start was. And what do the Guardians do? They go out to Seattle. Joe, you were on opening day. Chase DeLauder, 2 home runs. They take 2 out of 4 from the Mariners. They split the series. Great. They go to L.A. Boys, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 9-2 on the season. Their 2 losses are to the Cleveland Guardians. They take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. They come home, put on an absolute show against the Cubs on opening day. They have that terrible loss in the doubleheader, 1-0 in a game where I think there were like 3 total hits. And then they bounce back and win the nighttime game there. They win the series from the Cubs. And then they come out against the Royals. They lose game 1 against the Royals and win the last 2 to take the series against the Royals. Boys, it has been a test, to be sure, for the Cleveland Guardians to start the year. But so far, they are passing that test with flying colors.
It's tough not to get super stoked about this, because if this was the inverse start to the season, we'd be making up excuses. Oh, you played 3 playoff contending teams, 2 World Series teams, and the Royals. But the way that they have played, it's just, it's like all phases are just locked in right now. Like, you have the pitching staff, which we are all hoping and expecting to be as dominant as they have been, are second in the MLB behind the Yankees in ERA. You have this bullpen, which has had, just perennial incredible talent like Cade Smith and Eric Zabrowski. But then you also have Peyton Paulette. You have a couple other guys that it's going to take me maybe 2 or 3 more weeks to remember their names. But
that guy.
That guy that pitched today. The guy that got Zabrowski out of that was Matt Festa, actually. So yeah, Matt Festa, that's looking like second half Matt Festa out of the gate. And then I think the big surprise is the offense. It's been electric at times. You have Kwan getting off to an okay start. DeLauder doing the Lord's work with the bats. Jose getting off to a slow start, but then you have guys like Reese Hoskins that's just been a huge production asset for the team. Angel Martinez 4 for 5 with a grand slam today. The unfortunate, and I'm going to say this because I don't think we would have said this at the beginning of the year, but the unfortunate injury to Gabriel Arias, who was just dominant this
coming
entire
around
season at the plate. Yeah. And then Brian Rocchio is having some clutch hitting. So it's just what a lineup. Or maybe it's not a great lineup, but they're playing really great right now.
Yeah, listen, I think you have to start with the pitching, with the way the Guardians have started this season. Their pitching, their starting pitching. Well, here's the best way I can put it. Pretty much all 4 of the starting pitchers that are not named Tanner Bybee have made Tanner Bybee look not so great. And Tanner Bybee has got like a 3.3 ERA. Like, he's pitching perfectly fine. Like,
yeah,
he's pitching perfectly fine. But Kevin Williams has been unbelievable. Like, ace level stuff. Parker Messick might be an ace. I mean, the dude might be an ace.
I think he's the ace.
I think he might be. But, like, not to be outdone, here comes Joey Cantillo. I like how Chad unmuted to cough into the microphone. Oh, it's sick. Hold on, I want you all to hear this. There we go. It's better. Now I'll mute.
Oh, thank God. My head's clear. It sounded like we were in LaGuardia there for a second with all those planes landing in the background.
Yeah. So sorry, we'll teach Chad how to set his.
One of these days, I'll figure out this whole podcast.
There it went. Joey Cantillo is not to be outdone in that rotation. He's been unbelievable.
Okay. Now I'm ready. Are we doing this podcast? Did we roll the video yet?
And Slade Ciccone is probably their 5 starter, but his numbers are more due to a horrendous defensive inning where it was just an implosion than anything else. Otherwise, Slade's been fine. Like, that starting pitching staff, I thought it was a concern coming into the year. I think everybody, when you talk about the Guardians, everybody's like, well, the pitching's going to be good. But I was like, I don't know if the pitching's going to be all that great this year. I don't want to oversell it because there's going to be ebbs and flows to the season for all of them. But I think there's 5 guys that I feel pretty confident in that rotation that you're going to have a chance to win the game night in and night out.
Yeah, I'm always a proponent. You guys know me, like of you just got to ride the waves of the baseball season, right? But you also got to. I'm going to try to give credit where credit is due. Right now, I'm going to try to be more present. Like if a guy is shit at the moment, I'm going to say he's shit, right? Because I struggle with that, right? I struggle with how do you know when to call a guy like he's terrible or he's good or he's in baseball just because he could be terrible for a month, then he could go on just get hot for 2 months and all of a sudden he's good again, right? I always struggle with that. And
well, have you seen the video, Chad and Joe? Not to cut off your thought, but have you seen the video? I think it's kind of like a viral video of Trevor Bauer talking about when his time in Cleveland and an eye-opening experience he had with Jose Ramirez, where it was probably like this, like maybe 10-ish or so games into a season, and he tells this story about how he's in the dugout, and Jose Ramirez comes over and like taps him on the leg, and he goes, "Look at that." And Bauer looks up and he's like, "What?" And Jose was hitting like 120 through like 10 games.
Yeah.
And Bauer's like, I thought he was going to be like mad or say something. He just went, "Huh, that's funny," and like walked off. And then 10 games later, he was hitting like 330 with 8 home runs.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, to your point, though, I know that's Jose Ramirez.
Right.
But you can't take Kyle Manzardo right now. He doesn't have it right now. He cannot find it at the plate. But I think he's shown enough. I think he showed enough last year, and he showed flashes the year before that to say he's a guy worth having in your lineup, even if he's going to go for a 10, 15 game stretch where he's hitting like 0.67 or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. And then, and then getting back to the pitching, this is why I wanted to, this is the stat I was looking for ever so feverishly. because I want to give this rotation all the credit that it deserves. Over the last 9 games, boys, 49 and a third innings pitched, 27 hits, 6 earned runs, 19 walks, 57 strikeouts with a 1.10 ERA.
Yeah.
That's an unbelievable start. Yeah, granted,
Unreal.
it's gonna, it's like you said, it's gonna flow, ebb and flow. It's probably gonna go up a little, but to start for a team that notoriously starts slow, to get this kind of pitching in the early going and that offense, and I mean, obviously, we'll get to the offense in a minute, but obviously, a big time person that we've been waiting to get into the offense has played a big part in the offense. But to get this kind of pitching to start the season for a team that notoriously starts slow and to get these wins and be first into the division this early in the season, great start for the Guardians.
I think on top of the pitching stats, I think it naturally leads into another area of the team that deserves credit until today, really. I know we talked about the bad defensive inning in that Slade-Cecconi game, but the Cleveland Guardians defense has been spectacular.
Yeah.
They had 1 error on the season coming into today. Now they had, I think, 2 errors today. And one of those was, I think, Brito just booted a ball at second base. But like, their defense has been great. They've made all kinds of plays. And then the pitching has just been everything you want it to be. Everything you want it to be. Starting pitching, spectacular. Sean in the comments wants to know, all right, so the starting pitching's been good. And we know Cade Smith, good. But Sean wants to know, are there any middle relievers that make you nervous?
No. Not at this moment, no.
No, I'm trying to find their names because I just don't remember their names.
No,
Jacob Junis last year, like I hated him for the most part, but at the end of the year, he picked it up.
But I also think by nature, middle relievers, like true middle relievers, a guy that's like, hey, our starting pitcher doesn't have it tonight, you're coming in the 4th inning, are always going to kind of make you nervous.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know that I've seen enough out of Peyton Paulette or Colby Allard to be like, nah, they don't make me nervous.
Well, sure.
But what I have seen is like look at today, Connor Brogdon, really good. I think he pitched an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts, really good. Matt Festa's been very good to start. But Matt Festa's worked them out of jams.
Right.
I think Sean Armstrong gave up a home run at some point, but otherwise he's been pretty good to start the year. Yeah. And then you get to the back end, and you don't even have Hunter Gaddis yet, but he'll be back.
Right.
And then again, it's just such a luxury being able to go 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning and go, okay, Eric Sabrowski, Hunter Gaddis, in whatever order you want to put him in, and then Cade Smith.
Right.
It's a luxury.
I'm not going to lie. Too bad we can't trade one of these for a nice right-handed bat.
I'd be sick.
Well, yes.
Yeah, no.
But that leads us into the offense discussion, which is multifaceted. And it's you can't talk about the start to the Cleveland Guardians season without talking about the number 1 offensive weapon for the Cleveland Guardians and the guy that has been as advertised and then better in Chase DeLauter.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting question. I want to know your take on it. The Cavaliers did win tonight, so we may be in, I don't know, just so you know this programming note, Mike Lucas, Mikey McNuggets is going to come on with us, but he's got like post-game stuff to do at the game, so I don't really know what time he's going to be here, but when he's in, we'll pop over. Somebody asked this question, and it was, what would you consider, like, what's the base level now for Chase DeLauter for a successful season?
I'd like to see average out of him. Like the power is just unreal. I just really hope that his swing doesn't get so long that he starts striking out a lot. And so I think strikeouts are going to be a point of emphasis. Like I when he makes contact with the ball, like, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a home run swing. The thing just flies.
It's explosive.
It's explosive. So like, I would really like to see the strikeout rate low, and I would like to see him stay healthy. Other than that, I think power is just going to come, and he's going to have come as in like it's just going to happen. Like it's not obviously we're not waiting on the power to come. The power is here. But yeah, low strikeouts, healthy. Maybe sprinkle in some walks.
But like somebody said, well, let's say he wound up with like 25 homers. Would you be a little bummed at this point? Like he had 5 homers through the first like 8 games or whatever, and then he finished with 25. No, I again, for me, well, go ahead, Chad. What for you? What's like your base? What's your baseline now for like a Chase DeLauter season where you're like, great season?
I mean, the baseline probably is somewhere around that 25 homers because, unfortunately, and this is obviously not his fault at all, but he's with those 5 homers right away with the way he's hitting the ball now. I think he's kind of set the bar pretty high for his for fans, right? I think that people are like, oh, this guy really can hit. He's going to slow down. He's going to slow down a little bit. But I agree with all of Joey's points. But I think if he can stay, around 250 and above, and maybe 25 homers, driving 80, 90 RBIs, I think that would be a successful season for Chase because the guy can hit. I mean, you watch his approach at the plate, and it's a true. He has a true hitter's approach, right? He just takes the ball wherever it's pitched, right? He's not a pull hitter. He's not a one trick pony.
He almost put one out to left field today.
Yeah,
hit off the top of the wall.
Yeah, he's not a one trick pony hitter. He has power to all sides of the field. So and he drives the ball every time he hits it. So it's to me, this guy is a true hitter, and I think as long as he stays around that 250, maybe 240 and above, but gives us 25 bombs, and I think that's along with everything that Joey said. I think that's what would be a successful season.
Yeah, and I know the discussion with Chase DeLauter is always going to come back to health, and yes, obviously, health is going to be the biggest thing that comes into play for him, but I'm so comforted in watching him. Again, I think all of us as Guardians / Indians fans over the years, and we talked about this a little bit, Chad, have been burnt by these top prospects that get here, and then it's like, oh, shit, they suck. Right? We talked about the Andy Martes of the world that would go down and hit like 4 home runs a game in the minors and then come up here and look like he had never seen a baseball before. Or Matt Laporta, who was the centerpiece of the CC Sabathia trade, and he was like, can't miss. Matt Laporta is a can't miss prospect. He missed. I think we've been burned on it so much. And then, Chad, I think you put it great. Now I'm watching Chase DeLauter, and I'm going, I don't see the things that I saw in those other guys with him.
Yeah.
Those big, long swings. And like, it is the most compact, easy, like quick swing. He's obviously not trying to mash a bunch of homers, which is why he's hitting home runs. He has such a good approach at the plate. He's got a good eye. Yeah, I think his walk rate can go up. But like, I think it'll be interesting to see where they land on him in the lineup. I know Vogt's been playing around with him in the lineup a little bit. I think he hit 6th the other day. He hit 5th today. So I think that'll matter, like whether he's got Jose protecting him or if he's protecting Jose or whatever. But I have no doubt Jose Ramirez is going to have a great season. I do not care what his stat line looks like at the start of the year. It'll come around. I have no doubt that Chase DeLauter is going to have a great season, assuming he stays healthy. There's no question in my mind that if he's healthy, he is productive, power, good all the way around.
He gives me a feeling. That I haven't had in a while, right? Because you get that feeling.
Go on and tell us about it, Chad.
Yeah, it moved a little. It's the same feeling I get with Jose. It's the same feeling I get with Quan, and that's it. That's it for this lineup. Every time he comes up now, and it's only been 10 games. Every time he comes up now, I think the ball it's going to get hit where they ain't. I think I'm confident that a hit is happening whenever Chase DeLauter comes to the plate now. I don't get that feeling with the rest of this lineup, right? But I get it with Chase, Quan, and Jose now. So we now have 3 hitters to me that are true offensive guys.
So you got those guys. And then offensively, you've got the rest of the lineup. But they're doing some of the stuff that we boys talked about before the season started, as far as you need some guys to step up. Obviously, Manzardo hasn't done it yet, but I'm not. Again, I think Manzardo will get into it. I think Quan has been okay. I really don't like his swing to start the year. It's gotten better, but he's like pulling off the baseball and just popping it up way too much. But what is happening over there? What are you doing?
Sorry.
So loud.
Sounds like you're bouncing a ball.
But you talk about the other guys. Schneemann. Schneemann's one of those guys where every time he's up, I feel like the ball's getting hit hard somewhere.
Yeah.
Angel Martinez. I know he had the grand slam today, but he had the hottest spring training, and he's carrying it into the season. And it's because of him that they felt comfortable moving DeLauder down in the lineup. How about Rhys Hoskins?
Yeah.
He's another guy. Every time he hits the ball, it's hard.
Right.
It might not be a hit, but it's hard. It's a hard hit ball. There are now, on a nightly basis, 6 guys in that lineup, 7 guys in that lineup that I don't dread being at the plate. Even for crying out loud, we saw this before, but Aaron Williams said Austin Hedges for MVP.
No.
Maybe not MVP, but like
most valuable clubhouse guy, MVCP.
But can Hedges just have a season where it's not letting an automatic out when he's at the plate?
That'd be great. That'd be
Because
great.
that's what it's been so far.
Yeah.
You're muted. You were bouncing a ball around, Joe, and then you muted, and then you did.
Yeah, I fixed it. Do I sound okay now?
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
You sound terrific.
Does it sound like a ball bounce?
You're good.
Now you're good.
Are you rowing the boat over there? Is that what it is? You're just
I tell
sailing
you
the
what,
boat
this
across your
mic is
desk?
This mic is just very sensitive, right? And I
Oh,
think
you
I
know what?
figured
Send it
out-
back. I'll get a refund.
No, it's all good. I figured out how to turn down the volume on it.
Hilarious.
Um,
But yeah, go on. Just
I was just
offensively,
gonna-
I feel like they're going to score runs all season.
yeah,
Come on, Joey.
I agree. I mean, you're getting the production from these guys that I mean, time's going to tell because like the people we're talking about are the guys that like had the potential to be really good, but like were very streaky last year. And so are we catching this team coming off a very hot spring and they're just carrying things over or starting the season very hot? Or like, are we looking at a team where like, there's growth in these guys as hitters and they're actually just producing more now? I hope the latter is true. And I think with a couple guys, that is going to be true. I think Rocchio's one of the biggest ones in my brain that was just
Yes.
like, he has shown such strong spurts of being a really good hitter. And if you could just put it together for a full season, like, that's a guy you're going to want in your lineups. Maybe not higher than like 7th, but like, it's a guy you're going to want at the bottom half of your lineup. And then Schneemann's the other one. Like, him, Rocchio, Arias, they all kind of felt like the same guys going into the offseason where it's just like, they're streaky, they kind of produce the same. And, maybe with the threat of Bazana and Juan Brito in the wings that, this are really pushing these guys to play their best. And I hope so. But I'm excited to see those guys really turn it on.
Travis Bizona. That's good, right? That's good.
That was really good.
Travis Bizona.
Exactly.
Now, yeah, and think about this: the 2 guys. Maybe the hitting development has improved, right? You saw that ridiculous it's piggybacking off that ridiculous comment that Mike Chernoff made. I don't forget sometime in spring training about we can't sign the big ticket free agents. Okay, we can't sign. That was dumb. First of all, everybody knows you're not going to sign the big ticket free agents. But the one thing he did say is, so how do we do that? We got to improve the floor. And by doing that, we got to make sure these guys are ready to go. We got to make sure these guys are improving in the offseason here. What can we do that with? Whether it's training, whether it's giving them new, basically talking about how they can improve the development of these guys. And maybe that's finally starting to take a turn as far as offensively. So maybe they will score runs this year. I don't know, but these first 10 games have got me excited.
Like I got a message for old Mikey Chernoff. Hey, good fucking idea.
Yeah.
Let's develop our hitters. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Probably
What?
should have done that
Yeah.
a couple years ago.
Right.
We're not going to
Right.
sign anybody.
Right.
Then just develop the guys you got. I love
Right.
that idea.
Right. Like Mike, that's not the question we want answered. The question we want answered is why can't you sign the 1 year, $10 million guys, but also develop our hitters?
I just like the way that they are structured. Roki, to me, I know Arias was like coming around a little bit, and I said this to you on opening day. I love watching Arias in the field. He's not the rangiest shortstop, but there's not a player in the league I like watching throw a baseball more than Arias. It's phenomenal.
140-mile-an-hour throw to first base.
Yeah. Rocchio at second base has been spectacular. Spectacular. I don't want both of those guys all year. And to me, it feels like Arias is the guy left out, and it sounds like he might be out for up to 2 months of the season. Yeah. So that's going to come into play. I love that there's not a lot of guys this year that you're going to sub into the lineup where I'm going to be like, ugh. Right? Like over the last couple of years, we have had to deal with the Nolan Joneses and Florial. And I know Ramon Laureano was a monster when he left Cleveland, but he was so bad here. And like, there was just this revolving door of guys that would be in the lineup on a consistent basis where I'd be like, why do we have to watch this? And that's not even like Hedges notwithstanding, because I understand how valuable Hedges is as a catcher and as a leader for the pitching staff. But those guys don't really exist on this team to me. Like when Schneeman's in, I'm glad Schneeman's in. When Martinez is in, I'm glad Martinez is in. There's not really the guy where I'm like, I don't want to watch that guy. And that's a difference.
Hey, Nolan Jones is mashing in Columbus. Okay.
And I hope he does that all season long.
For Columbus.
Correct. Anyways, so the Guardians, they are now on the road. They get tomorrow off. First off day of the season, I believe.
No, they had an off day coming back from LA, I think.
Coming back from LA, that's right.
Yeah.
But they're going down to Atlanta, so another ridiculous test. And then they go to St. Louis, so that's their first series of the year against a not supposed to be a very good team on the season. But it's been a great start. It's been a great start, and we should all be very happy. All right, boys. Again, we don't know what time Mikey's going to be here, so I want to organize this the right way. Why don't we go to our asshole of the week and do that? And then we'll jump into our next topic. So, welcome to Asshole of the Week, where we call somebody out for being an asshole this week. Chad, why don't you get us started?
Well, I have two this week, Mike, and something we haven't really called out, and which we should have over the last couple of weeks, is Chappell Roan. Wow. What an asshole. That incident they had with Jude Law's daughter. Just she walking by you at breakfast, just seeing if it's your idol, because this was Jude Law's daughter, a girl who's used to being in the spotlight, a little girl who's used to being in the spotlight, between her and, Jude Law's wife and Jude Law's ex-wife and Jude Law's ex-wife's husband, who's always in the public limelight, for just walking by and then sending your security over to be just a dick, to just be a complete dick. It's not cool. I understand you want your space. I mean, being a celebrity, I know I've worked with a bunch of athletes in the past. I understand the you want your privacy thing, but it's a little different when it comes to kids. All right, it's a little different when it comes to kids. You don't want autograph seekers seeing you coming up and hounding you for everything. You don't want everybody coming up and hounding you for pictures, yada yada yada. But when it comes to kids, it's usually just pretty innocent, and you need to treat things a little better. Also, when you sign up for this type of stuff, or when you become famous, this is what you sign up for. Okay, this is what you sign. You're gonna get noticed. You're gonna get recognized. It's all about how you handle it, and she handled it poorly in this instance. My second asshole is whoever decided it was a good idea to release the Doug Martin body cam footage. I don't know if you saw that,
No.
but this poor guy, he was clearly. It kind of breaks your heart a little bit, because when you see the police going into the house, you just hear it just shrieks. It's not even screams; it shrieks. Doug Martin was clearly having like a psychotic episode, with whatever was going on in his brain. I mean, obviously, I mean, everybody talks about CTE, and he was clearly having issues, a mental psychotic episode with what he was doing. It was and then he goes, I'm sorry. And then, they don't cut away from the body cam footage. They show Doug Martin there. All of a sudden, he just goes to sleep and snores, and then it starts snoring, which is an indication of a heart attack. And the ambulances didn't show up in time, and he was dead. He was dead. So whose idea it was to release that footage is an asshole, because it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help anything. He's been dead for a couple of years now, and it just reignites the pain that his family feels.
Yeah, what's the point of that now?
There's no point. It's not helping anything.
Yeah. All right. A couple good ones there, Chad. Joe, asshole of the week.
I got two as well. Number one, Pins Mechanical.
The
bowling alley on West 25th.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, you know what? We were there last year for opening day. We brought Patty and my dad.
Each of the last 2 years.
These last 2 years, and we go do some bowling before they get there around like noon or 1, do some bowling, and then he can walk over or scooter over to the game from there. And they were closed. They didn't open till 4 on Friday.
Oh, come on.
Friday. And you're telling me West 25th was bumping, dude. Like, they had the whole side by Great Lakes shut down, and there was a lot of foot traffic, and just like, that was lame. I mean, we had a great pivot. We went to Hooples after, but like, that was dumb. And what else? Those guys that stand outside the game and tell me to go to hell. Not the fans from the other team, but those like crazy guys with the megaphones. We've had those in Seattle forever. There's a lot of politics as to why they're at these games, but like, they're now in Cleveland, so have fun with that. Do not hit them. You will not win that battle. But yeah, they stand out front of the stadiums and they have megaphones. So I don't know. It's just like annoying. It's like a horrible experience for bringing like the kids to the game, and like it's just a real bummer. And there's nothing you can do to get rid of them. Those guys.
That is asshole behavior.
Hey, Pins, fuck you.
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck you, Pins.
Aaron Wilson has an asshole of the week. All the people in Costco who take up the entire aisle and think they're the only people in the store. It's a really good one, Aaron. And relatable as shit. As shit. We've all been there. My asshole of the week this week is trees.
Okay. All right.
But
Treehouse Brewery, asshole of the week. If you're listening, Treehouse Brewery.
Hell no. Since you guys both did too, I'll do too. But trees, I am suffering today.
Oh,
it is allergy city.
Oh,
these trees are kicking my whole ass. Not my asshole, my whole ass.
What you allergic to there, asshole? Cottonwood? Right?
You're
just allergic to oak trees?
Tree pollen, but I feel like trash. And it hit me.
You look like trash too. So it's just,
you look like
really
shit.
Everything.
Look shit, feel shit. I love it. It's been kicking my ass. So trees, total asshole this week. And two, I'm gonna just rehash an asshole from last week. All the people online because of the Artemis thing, and then when you go look, all the people that are like, "It's fake, idiot, it's fake, it's CGI, you stupid idiot, it's AI, idiot." I'll just say this. We live in the age of information, which should make us all smarter. And instead, what it's really done is just made the dumbest people feel smarter. That's what the age of information is. The age of information is the dumbest people now feel like the smartest people in their own brains, in their own tiny brains. And there's no such thing as facts anymore.
No.
Or frankly, actually, what I should say is there's no such thing as opinions anymore. Everybody thinks a fact is something that you can argue. Like, I'm going to argue a fact. Well, a fact is a fact. And these people are all...
Says who?
Yeah, right. These people are smooth-brained. And the reason it pisses me off is because it's this really cool work of human ingenuity doing something really cool, and I find it disrespectful because your brain can't wrap your mind around how something works. And it makes you feel smarter to be like, they're lying to you. No, they're not. No, they're not.
I think there's probably about 100 video editors that are really excited that because this mission is successful, they don't have to CGI the moon landing in 2 years.
That's fair. It's a good point. Anyways, it pisses me off like crazy, so I had to yell.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We've gone from don't believe everything you read on the internet to believe only what fits your narrative.
Correct.
On the internet. That's exactly what we go to.
And remember, if something is true, it's only if you want it to be.
Yeah.
All right. Boys, next topic. Chad, Joe. Last night I'm sitting on my couch. I'm watching the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Detroit Red Wings.
Let's go.
And it's a tie game. Pretty hard fought game. But Detroit scores with what? 3 minutes left or something like that?
5
minutes left to take a 1-goal lead.
Yeah.
We get down to about a minute left. Columbus hasn't really threatened. I mean, once or twice they had, but and I sit down and I've got my computer and I start typing a tweet about how different this offseason is going to feel compared to last year. How disappointing that is.
Yeah.
Because what a collapse for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Because frankly, for the last week and a half, they've played horrible.
Dog shit.
Horrible.
Absolute dog shit. Yeah.
And as I'm about to hit send, Adam Fantilli lights the lamp, ties the game with 17 seconds to go. They go to overtime. No winners there. They go to the shootout. Wild shootout. And Zach Werenski ends up burying, I think it was his first ever shootout goal.
Yeah.
He ends up burying it, and they win that game. And Chad and Joe, the Blue Jackets saved their season last night. They saved it. That game was amazing.
Yeah, they sure did. Listen, it's, and I've said it in my recap. I said it to, I texted to you guys last night. Like, I didn't care how pretty, how ugly, how good, how bad, I didn't care to critique this game. This team just needed a win. They needed to get off the schneid. They needed it for themselves. Most importantly, for themselves, to see that they can do it again, to see that they can win a hockey game. They needed that. But by any means necessary, they needed a win to hopefully jumpstart them. Because if they lost that game, their season was essentially over. Right? So the effort, the effort was there. Right? And like there was little moments there where it was like, okay, maybe they are back just a little bit. Right? They're not all the way back. They're not back to the epic run they went on when Bones first took over. But there was little moments, right? Like, okay, so they went down 2-1 in the second period. It was like, okay, here we go again. But then Zach gets that power play goal, and it's okay. Whoa, okay, the bottom didn't fall out. We ended the second period tied. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. Then they get that goal with 5 minutes left, and Detroit gets that goal with 5 minutes left in the third period, and it was all those demons came back to haunt everybody in CBJ land. Everybody, those demons came back. And, and you thought it was over, right? Because whenever the Blue Jackets go empty net, you never think that they're going to score because they rarely ever do.
Yeah, no,
right?
They usually get scored on.
Yeah, and they usually get scored on. And, they ran the same play, right? They keep running this play, and Adam Fantilli usually gets wide open around the slot. And, and they did it against Winnipeg, and it got blocked by Hellebuck, who obviously an incredible goaltender. But Fantilli, with this shot, it goes in, and it just, I mean, all of a sudden, all those feelings of belief just came rushing back, right? And, I had the feeling that the Jackets had to win it in overtime, right? Because, going to the shootout and you look at the forward groups, Detroit's forwards are so much more skilled than the Jackets are. And so I thought that I totally thought that the Jackets were gonna lose in a shootout because, I mean, you got Patrick Kane, you got Alex DeBrincat, you got Dylan Larkin, you got so many more guys that are so much more skilled than the Jackets. But the fact that Jet made those big saves, and it fitting that Zach ends it on a shootout goal with, again, a Norris Trophy type performance. 33 minutes, that's unheard of. 33 minutes on the ice for Zach is unheard of. But the fact that he ended it was just a storybook, right? In Detroit, his home state, went to Michigan, and was able to get that win to put them to save their season. Was just it was awesome. I hope this galvanizes this team and gets them jump started to hopefully points in these next 4 games in some form or fashion, because they're going to need points in these next 4 games to give themselves the best chance. But what a game last night. I woke up my entire house when Fantilli scored, and what a game. I know I rambled. Sorry.
Well, but here's where we're at. Because, again, you're 100% right, Jen. If they lose that game in regulation, their season's over.
Yeah.
Because they would now be – well, they would be the next team on the chopping block for elimination.
Right.
That's the difference. So here's where things sit. The Columbus Blue Jackets have 90 points. They are chasing in the wild card Boston and Ottawa. Boston has 96. Ottawa has 92. So just 2 games out of the wild card, or 2 points out of the wild card. And in their own division, in the Metropolitan Division, Philly has 92 and Pittsburgh has 96. So right now it's Philly and Ottawa that you got to be worried about. And they are both 2 points ahead of the Blue Jackets. What does the Blue Jackets schedule look like? Well, it's not great. It's not great. They got to go to Buffalo. That's the next game. I think that's tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Buffalo is the first place team in the Atlantic. They're going to be either the 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs, probably.
Backup goaltender starting for Buffalo tomorrow, so that's good.
Well, yeah, we said that about Carolina. And
Carolina's way better than Buffalo.
Fair. So at Buffalo, the 1 seed in the Atlantic. At Montreal, the 3 seed in the Atlantic. Both teams over 100 points on the season. Then they come home, they play Boston. One of the teams directly in front of them. Well, almost directly in front of them. And then they got to finish things up playing the Washington Capitals, who Washington was like damn near in last place for a good chunk of this season.
Yeah.
And they are playing much better hockey.
Yeah.
And they're still not technically eliminated from the playoffs.
They're 2 points behind.
So you got 3 teams that are definitely going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you got 1 team that's fighting for their playoff lives. That's what the Blue Jackets are going to have to contend with if they want to get in to the playoffs. So how do we feel about it?
Playoffs are on. I mean, it starts now. Like, you got to play like it's playoff hockey because you don't know if you get actual playoff hockey. So I don't know. I mean, I was looking at the schedule, the Flyers. I mean, I think theirs is just as brutal as the Jackets going down the stretch. They have the Red Wings coming up. I think they also have maybe the Bruins and some other contender. I'm looking at Ottawa right now.
They've got Detroit, Winnipeg, Carolina, and Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's deep. Ottawa has Florida, Islanders, Jersey, and Maple Leafs, which is cakewalk. But
yeah, on paper, you could probably discount the wild card 2 spot. You could probably kiss the wild card 2 spot goodbye because Ottawa's got an easy schedule.
Yeah.
But the Caps, I mean, it could come down to that last game because you, as a Jackets fan, you play the Caps the last game of the season. The Caps are going to win tonight. They're going to beat Toronto tonight, so they're going to be at 89 points. So they only have 3 games left. It's a home and home with the Pittsburgh, and then they come to the Blue Jackets to Nationwide on the 14th. So, I mean, depending on what they do there, boys, I mean, this might come down to the last game again, like it did last year.
But I still will say this: if Columbus, does not make the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, great.
Right.
If they don't make the playoffs, then what I was gonna basically tweet about yesterday is gonna just hold true for me.
Sure.
Which is last year when they missed out on the playoffs, they did down the stretch literally everything they had to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they went on a torrid run. They won every game in front of them, and they just couldn't make up the math. But going into the offseason, how did we all feel? Hell yeah. Like they found something, and they're going to build on it. This year's very different. It was like 2 weeks ago that they were, well, I remember I was sitting in a restaurant. They were the 2 seed in the Metropolitan. And I was watching, the NHL Network was on, and they were doing Eastern Conference power rankings. And they did Carolina 1, Columbus 2. In the whole conference. That's how they did it. And to go from that to whatever the hell this has been for 2 weeks.
Ugh.
Because it really does feel like it's a loss of focus.
Right.
It feels like it's a loss of focus. Like they just completely stopped playing the way that they were playing.
Right. Right.
And to go from where they were to that, it's going to be, if they miss out on the playoffs, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a much harder offseason. It's going to be one where some conversations have to be had. Because I don't know. Eventually, we have to stop babying this team.
Sure.
And being like, oh, but Columbus, they were competitive. That's cute.
It's time. It's time to stop babying them.
Eventually, we got to stop babying them and being like, this is not okay.
Right.
Another season of almost being there is not okay.
Right. 100% agree.
And I know it's not the same people here, and I trust Don Waddell, but I don't think he did enough last offseason.
No, of course not.
But
it does take 2 to tango.
Sure, but still don't think he did enough. And I think he's made some really good moves this season. Obviously, some of the trades have worked out phenomenally. But it's also, I think, going to be time to have some conversations about some guys that you really love on the team.
Sure.
Who I don't think are necessarily pulling their weight the way that we kind of talk about them.
Sure.
And what's really disappointing about it, if they don't make it, is that not many teams out there for the last however many years have had the high-level draft capital that the Columbus Blue Jackets have had. And immediately, the things that come to mind are just the ones that we know they didn't hit on.
Right.
And I know that's Yarmo and that's a different GM and all that, but like, this team should be so much farther along than just hoping that they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But failures of the last 5, 6, 7 years are now coming back to really bite them.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think Don Waddell is at the beginning stages of putting his stamp on this team. But yeah, I mean, obviously, old demons came back. I mean, over these last couple of weeks, old demons came back to haunt this team, and that's exactly why they're in the position that they're in now. We've seen through the moves this current season that Don Waddell has made. He's not afraid to have the tough conversations. He's not afraid to make the tough moves. And the one thing I appreciate about Don is his transparency. He's probably the most transparent GM in all of Ohio sports. I think that's probably fair to say. He's probably the most transparent GM in all of Ohio sports. So I think when it comes to this offseason, you're going to hear him say exactly how he feels and exactly what he's looking to do this offseason with the Jackets.
Well, again, they got a shot, and it's all moot. I don't mean to turn this into a negative thing. I'm a little bummed that we're in the spot that we're in when it should not have gotten to this point.
Sure.
Especially, again, the games that they have blown against teams that they needed to beat.
Yeah.
Just blowing that game against Boston. Really, 2 blown games against Boston.
Sloppy Islander games
against the Islanders.
Yeah.
You need it. I don't care that you go to Carolina and lose 5-1. Almost everybody goes to Carolina and loses 5-1.
Sure.
I don't care about that game.
Sure.
I care that mattered. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. 100%.
That shouldn't have mattered. I care
100%.
about that sloppy game against Winnipeg.
Ugh.
Or the, oh my God, the Sharks at home.
The game you should have won. Oh God.
That's where my frustration is. Now, having said that, they have 4 games to play between now and Tuesday. So we're in the final, but by the time this show is live next week, that season is over.
Right.
And they're either going to be in the playoffs or they're not.
Right.
You got
Right.
4 games. 4 games to change everybody's outlook.
For sure. For sure.
I think they could do it.
They can. When this Jackets team is playing at the level that they were playing at, yeah, they can. They can beat anybody. Is that magic back? I don't know. It starts tomorrow, and we'll find out.
There it is. Shout out to Aaron. Says, keep up the good work, boys. Love the show. Hey, we love you back.
Hey, love you too,
Fumble.
buddy.
I love Fumble. Blue Jackets better get their shit together. Yes, you should go talk to him, Fumble. All right, we're still waiting on Mikey. He's texted me, so he's still coming, but just hang tight with us. But we still got more stuff to talk about anyways. Guys, we're 2 weeks away from the NFL draft.
Yes. Yes.
We are 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. The Cleveland Browns have got pick 6, pick 24, pick 39, pick 70, pick 107, and then the ones that I don't care about. So that's the first. They got 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. Did Chad leave? Is he pooping? Do you think he's pooping?
He's pooping. Yeah.
All right. That's fair. So the Browns got 5 picks in the first 4 rounds, but I think more importantly, they've got 3 picks in the top 40. And so I want because I think the next time we're all going to be together, we got to talk about next week's show. So we'll spare that for you guys tonight. But next time the 3 of us are going to be together, it's going to be the week of the draft.
Whoa.
And so what I want to know is, where are we at? What do we want the Browns to do in the draft? Where are we leaning? How do we think this is going to go?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm so grateful we had the free agency that we had leading up to this draft because, Andrew Berry did what he had to do, and he had to build an offensive line. And that was 1A, the biggest issue of this team. You have to build an offensive line. He accomplished that. I would still love with one of those first 3 picks to get a young offensive lineman that he's confident in, that can maybe progress a little more than Zach Zinter has. And I don't know who else he's picked in the past, but I think that's kind of it. Really want to see a really strong offensive lineman there. Otherwise, I mean, I got to go. First pick has got to go a weapon for whoever the hell's throwing the ball for us. We have bottom 3 wide receiver rooms in the league. That might be generous. Maybe bottom 2. It's a horrible wide receiver room. It's a room of wide receiver 3s, and that's generous to a couple of those guys. That has to get completely revamped. That is next up, whether that's a trade during the draft, whether that's drafting somebody at 6, you have to bolster that wide receiver room.
Yeah. Hey, Chad, welcome back. We're talking about the draft.
How are you?
2 weeks ago. And you know what, Sean? Yes, we are going to do the mock draft game. We're going to do it tonight. 2 weeks until the draft. Well, again, next week's going to be a weird week. And so really the next time we're doing a full-on episode is going to be in 2 weeks. And that's going to be draft week. So,
yeah,
Chad, how you feeling, man? Again, I laid it all out. We got the 6th pick, the 24th pick, 39. Now that you've really consumed things, understood things, seen what the Browns have done this offseason, what direction are we going? What would you do?
I mean, in my opinion, when I look, if you're staying at 6, right? I mean, if you're going to trade back, I wouldn't trade back very far. But if you're going to stay at 6, in my opinion, I think you need to take the receiver that you need or that you want. Because when I look at the teams behind the Browns, the receiver needy teams behind the Browns, Tampa Bay, Miami, New Orleans. I don't think if you wait till 24, I think the receiver that you want is not going to be there. This is and again, this is predicated on that they stay at 6 and 24, right? In my opinion, I think that's what you do. Whether it's Carnell Tate, whether it's Mekhi Lemon, whatever. I think if you stay at 6, it's got to be the receiver that you want. That's my opinion. And then with 24, you do whatever you need to do. Whether it's obviously I want them to take the left tackle of the future. So if you need to move up, move down, move wherever you need to do to take your left tackle of the future, that's where you take it. But in my opinion, this plan, this need in the first round, is so simple for the Browns because it's such an obvious, glaring need. And I'm not a big proponent. Yes, best player available, great. Yes, a lot of times I think that works out. A lot of times I'm usually in favor of that. But in my opinion, this is such a basic, glaring, like a huge Captain Obvious. This is what the Browns need. Now, if they go in another direction, I depending on who it is, I'll have my opinions then. But to me, this is like a black and white situation.
I mean, I say that, but I also, again, I believe firmly in the idea that you fill in holes in free agency and then you just swing for the fences in the draft. Like, that is my opinion of how it gets done. And so again, I'm going to just say to Browns fans, I would not go into the draft thinking exactly what Andrew Berry's going to do. Because you take a look at some of these mocks, and I think we're going to do it twice, and then Mikey should be here. But you see some of these players that are really awesome that maybe could fall to 6. Like, for example, let's say it's David Bailey, who is the best pass rusher in this draft. If I've got him ranked just ranked as a much better prospect than like a Carnell Tate, I'm taking David Bailey and I'm going to put him across from Myles Garrett, and we're just going to go eat quarterbacks this year. And then I'm going to try to figure out more offensive weapons later. I think that's how Andrew Berry operates. I think he showed you last year when he took a defensive tackle at 5, when he took a linebacker with the first pick of the second round. And everybody went, what is he doing? Well, it worked out. Now, do they need offensive help? Sure. But if I get a guy that I think for the next 4 or 5 years can alter the state of my team so greatly, offense or defense, I'm probably taking him in the draft.
I don't know. And listen, I agree with that, but it's such a catch-22 for me, right? Because what you also figured out last year is that you need to score points to win games in the NFL, and you didn't score enough last year.
For sure.
So I mean, if you're I can't complain. I can't be mad if they take a David Bailey. I can't be mad if they take a Caleb Downs. I'm certainly not going to be over the moon because all I'm going to be doing is yes, great, we got David Bailey put across from Myles Garrett. Where's the points going to come from? That's just going to be my next question.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's do it. Sean asked for it. Let's give it to him. We're going to go again. I'm not doing a 7-round mock. It's nonsense. Let's do a 4-round. Nope. Let's do 3 rounds. First 4 picks. Hold on. Let me set it up. Let's do a 3-round mock draft for the Browns. We'll use the mock draft database simulator. And let's see what we would do. Now, all right, let's say this. First one, no trades. Second one, let's see what they offer us, okay? So let me share my screen. There it is. And let me get it up there. All right, everybody can see it?
Yep.
All right. So let me hit start. And let's see where we wind up. All right. Okay, no trades. We're not even looking at them. Mendoza 1, Styles 2 to the Jets. Mamangoa to the Cardinals.
Can you
Jeremiah
zoom in a
Love.
little bit?
What's that?
You zoom in a little bit.
Maybe.
I got a lot of ads.
Yeah, well, the ads don't get smaller. That's the problem.
Oh my god!
Look at that. It's outrageous.
Oh, it's outrageous.
It's outrageous. Sorry.
Jeez, I hate our society.
Yeah, well. Styles
So
to the
dumb.
Jets.
Society's
Mongo to the
terrible.
Cardinals, Love to the Titans, and Arvell Reese to the Giants means that the Browns are on the board. We just talked about this situation. By all accounts, the two best pass rushers on the board, David Bailey and Reuben Bain. Cardell Tate. Well, name your wide receiver. They're on the board. Tyson, Lemon, Spencer Fano, Monroe Freeling, Caleb Downs. All the guys we've talked about are on the board. So, boys, who do you go with?
I mean, I'm taking Tate. I mean, that's just my, continuing with my thinking, consistent with my thinking. Yeah, I'm taking Tate.
Joe?
I am also taking Tate here.
Yeah, I've been and I still very much believe in Mekhi Lemon.
I love Mekhi Lemon too.
But it was really our last. We had on Inside the Browns beat. We had a really awesome guest from our lads who scouts the draft, and he, without hesitation, said Cardell Tate is his number one wide receiver in the draft. And he says anybody that gives, tries to kind of put down Cardell Tate because for whatever reason is just straight wrong. And I kind of have been back and forth on Tate, but he really pushed me over. I'm with you. I'm still in team get your wide receiver. I want to see a top end wide receiver on this team. It's just been far too long. So let's go with Cardell Tate, which means we're going to go all the way down to 24. And let's see what interesting things have happened since we made our pick. Mekhi Lemon goes next to Washington. New Orleans creams their jeans with David Bailey. Kansas City gets a replacement corner. That's good for them. That's a wild pick by the Cincinnati Bengals. Isn't Caleb Downs still on the board? Yep. Bengals make a wild decision. That Cincinnati will go up in flames. A lot of run on defensive backs there. Cooper goes before Tyson. Reuben Bain falls to Baltimore. Of course he does. That'd be fun. Hendrickson and Bain coming at you.
Fuck the Ravens.
Proctor to Detroit. They probably are looking for a tackle. The kid from Toledo to Minnesota. That's a great pick. Two safeties go before Caleb Downs all the way to Carolina. That's not going to happen.
Nope.
Well, what are we talking about here?
I love Cassius Howell. He goes to Dallas. That makes a lot of sense.
Gee, why do you love Cassius Howell, Mike?
And then look at what happens here. Son of a bitch. Freeling to Pittsburgh. Fano to... I don't think Pittsburgh would take Freeling, but Freeling to Pittsburgh. Fano to the Chargers and Lomu to Philly. So...
Wow.
Even if you don't really like Proctor, he's off the board to Detroit. And then the three picks before the Browns, Freeling, Fano, Lomu, gone. All offensive linemen, all off the board.
And we weren't even offered a trade.
Which means for the Browns, this is what things look like. I mean, Ioane is an awesome interior offensive lineman. They actually had Sadiq the Freak in for a visit, I think, today. Mesidor, I think, is the most underrated of the edge rushers in this draft. He's amazing. You do have Blake Miller here. You do have wide receivers here. You got Ty Simpson here. And then you got Max, a Henachor. So what's the thought process here, boys?
Ty Simpson.
Well, I'm out on that. We're going to not agree on that at all.
If this is the way the board falls, I'm taking Kenyon Sadiq. I'm just adding another weapon to this offense. But the combination, you mean to tell me I can have Cardell Tate, Kenyon Sadiq, Harold Fannin as like a core offensive weapons to my brand new offense, yeah, I'm taking
Quinchon.
Sadiq.
I like Sadiq. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm going to take another weapon for the offense if this is how it falls. And knowing that they've really kind of stacked up on interior offensive linemen, I really think Ioane is great. But I am probably going to lean towards Concepcion.
Why?
No, I would have if they go offensive lineman at 6, I go Concepcion. He's my absolute favorite of the next group of wide receivers. Not because he's an Aggie, but because he's awesome. So I don't know. What are we doing here? We got to make it quick. I see our special guest has arrived.
My vote would be for Sadiq, but
Well, we can't. All right, Joe, pick because your choice was stupid with Ty Simpson. Pick between Sadiq and Concepcion.
Give me Sadiq.
Kenny and Sadiq. Oh my God, Sadiq and Fannin would be a good time. All right, we got to speed this up. At pick 39. Hey, you could still do Ty Simpson or Denzel Boston.
We're not doing Ty Simpson.
You can see it here. There are some good defensive players. TJ Parker still on the board. Again, Denzel Boston, CJ Allen, the linebacker. Do you go that way? I do think the Browns are probably going to take a cornerback at some point in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Emerson possibly gone.
Yeah, I mean, probably gone.
Probably gone. Yeah.
So what do we feel like here?
I love D'Angelo Pons.
I love D'Angelo
I
Pons.
love Pons so
D'Angelo
much.
Pons.
I love D'Angelo Pons.
Lock it.
All right, I'll lock in D'Angelo Pons.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just because we got to get to Mikey. Mikey's waiting in the wings.
I said it on the last show. D'Angelo Pons is like my draft day pick. Like D'Angelo Pons or nothing. I don't care that he's 5'9" or 5'10". He's a stud. He's a stud.
Plays like he's 6'3".
And he can play the nickel like stud. Absolutely. All right, last pick we're going to do here, third round. So we have Sadiq the Freak. We got Carnell Tate, and then Pons. So what are we doing? What are we doing here in the third round? You see some of the players available. We're not going to take another tight end. AJ Halsey, the safety.
Caleb Tiernan's good for me.
Do you like Caleb Tiernan, the tackle out of Northwestern?
Yeah, I like that tackle out.
I think he's probably more suited for maybe not being a tackle, but that's all right. We're not going to take another corner. We're going to go take Caleb Tiernan? Yeah, it's fine with me at this point. I like Bud Clark. I really do like Bud Clark, the safety out of TCU. Again, we've already got a tight end. I really like Logan Jones, but you might be able to get him at 107.
Right.
All right, we're going to just say it? We're just going to do Caleb Tiernan?
Yeah, just Tiernan.
All right, let's do it.
We're hurrying it up. We don't have time for discussion.
Well, we got Mikey. I got to get to him, but that's all right. All right, so 3-round draft results are just going to not load. This is great. I love the internet. It was Carnell Tate.
Must mean that we won.
Kenyon Sadiq. Who else did we take? Oh, there it is. D'Angelo Pons. I would just give me D'Angelo Pons.
Please.
And Caleb Tiernan. I'd be pretty happy with this.
Yeah, I would be ecstatic over this.
I don't love Sadiq, but I think they've done enough on the offensive line to where I don't feel like they just have to get an offensive lineman if they're not like up front, if something better is available.
I mean, my preference,
not the best player on the board.
Yeah, my preference would be one of those tackles, but I mean, if they went before that, if that's how the board falls, yeah, sure, give me Sadiq.
Yes. All right. So our special guest is here, and he was covering the Cavaliers, who won sort of tonight. But I want to bring him in, and I know he's on his way home, but he's going to be safe, and I don't want to hear any shit about it. Let's bring him in now. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You know him as Mikey McNuggets. Welcome back into the garage, buddy.
How you guys doing?
How are you doing, sir? How was the Cavs game tonight?
A little too close for comfort at the end, considering how well they played in the third quarter. As I sit here, let my car warm up like the Cavs did after the halftime break. Whatever Kenny Atkinson told the guys between the second and third quarter worked, and then they forgot it all to start the fourth quarter. And then they came back and eventually were able to put Atlanta away in what felt like a real playoff atmosphere. And I think, frankly, a game and a win this team kind of desperately needed in a weird way. You know, they haven't played many minutes together. Before tonight, do you guys have a name for the new grouping of four? It's not the core four anymore. The big four.
It's the beard four.
The beard four. Well, whatever that group is, it only played 76 total minutes together as a group since the acquisition of James Harden in early February. So we could talk about playoff seeding. We could talk about matchups in the first round, all that stuff. At the end of the day, if you've never played together, it's not like they have 3 years built in previously. You got to find some sort of chemistry. And I thought down the stretch and really in the second half, the third quarter was obviously the better of the two quarters. They showed some things that they could build on for the playoffs. So I thought it was a pretty good win for the Cleveland tonight, considering the opponent, considering the stakes, and considering the fact they haven't gone through many wars and battles like this up to this point.
Does that make you nervous going forward? 76 minutes only with this new core?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
I figured I'd give you
like
a fastball out over the middle of the plate there.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've seen Harden elevate Jared Allen, and we've seen Harden elevate Evan Mobley, but both of their best months came with the other one primarily hurt and on the bench. We've yet to see how they kind of mesh together with Harden and with Donovan all at the same time. Does Kenny want to close with both bigs? Is he more comfortable closing with shooting? Like, those are all questions that we can discuss and have our opinions on without having any actual data to back it up. So, hell yeah, it makes me nervous. I mean, it's basically a brand new team. You can tell me this team goes on a run and reaches the NBA Finals, and I would say I see it being possible. They could lose in the first round, and I'd say I'd be surprised, but I don't think it's impossible just because we don't really have a track record of what this group, when fully healthy, actually is.
Mikey, I think you hit on it, but I want to take it a step further. I mean, we saw the instant chemistry between Jared Allen and James Harden. Instant. I mean, I loved the comment from James Harden, like, he's way better than I thought he was. And it took a little time. Obviously, the injury didn't help, but it took a little time for the Evan Mobley chemistry to happen. But that has happened, and Evan has changed up. They're changing up how they use him, which I think is a much needed thing. I think there was a little bit of, hey, go be something you're not really. And now that's gone. It's like Evan's kind of playing his regular game now. And God, look at his numbers tonight. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The one guy that I am still waiting on the elevation from, and don't get me wrong, I know statistically he's always great. But it does feel like, to me, Donovan Mitchell was a little slow to the elevation party. It feels like all of a sudden the ball wasn't in his hands all the time. And it feels like he liked that. But I think sometimes he kind of was more out of the game than we're used to seeing. Like, he was kind of like passive almost. And I think maybe that's turned around a little bit recently. But, like, have you noticed the same thing, that he was a little – it took a minute for him to kind of adjust to this whole thing?
So the one perk of hopping on here literally minutes after we just spoke to Donovan is I can tell you exactly what Donovan said to that question. And he said, guys, you see how hard I played tonight? You see how I had to work for certain shots? If you want me to play like that for 82 regular season games, I'm going to be hurt for the playoffs and my body's not going to respond. So I think it's been partially intentional, Mike, for him to kind of take a step back and let Harden be the point guard, be the engine, be the catalyst, because Don knows his body's broken down in the last two playoffs. He has been 70% of himself before he got hurt against Boston. He was 80% of himself before he got hurt last year against Indiana. The reason his body had worn down was, as much as he liked Darius, Darius wasn't capable of single-handedly running an offense like James Harden has and elevating the bigs like James Harden does, right? So I agree with you. I think partially it's been intentional. I think it's also the most ball-dominant player Don's ever played with, so he's getting used to the my turn, your turn thing. But I would say look at their clutch numbers together and go to the New Orleans game where the Pelicans blitzed hard and he dumped it off to Don. Don had a 3-on-2 advantage, turned the corner, got the layup. They're clutch. They have the third best, clutch offense since the James Harden acquisition. They were 16th in the NBA prior to that. I would say look at those smaller sample sizes and look how engaged Don is in those moments more than the big picture. I think a lot of it's been intentional, but I would agree. I don't think we've seen the best pairing or the best of the Donovan Mitchell, James Harden duo yet. And that could be a dangerous thing for other Eastern Conference teams in the next couple of weeks.
Mikey, what do you make of the, guys, obviously we saw the Chris Fedor article about Jared Allen and his knee and his pain management. What do you make of that situation going forward?
Well, he left tonight before we could speak to him in the locker room, and that's never good. And it does not mean anything. I don't want anyone to freak out, but we were going to ask about it. He left the game in the first quarter, went back to the locker room, did not go with a trainer, and was in there for about 5 minutes, came back out. He ended up playing 29 minutes, so it wasn't like he was, hindered in that regard. But Ethan Sands asked Kenny Atkinson, hey, what do you make of how Jared's moving around? And Kenny said, you guys got to ask Evan. You got to ask Jared. I can't answer that question for you. So we had every intention of asking Jared. And before we got into the locker room, he had dipped out the back door. So he's moving okay. I don't think he's moving like peak Jared Allen does. And I think it's going to be something that's going to bother him the entire postseason, which is a bummer because the Cavs kind of need him at full capacity if they're going to beat some of these really, really good teams in the NBA.
16-8 tonight for a not peak Jared Allen's pretty good though.
Yeah, he was effective.
But he looked pissed. Like all game. I've never seen Jared Allen look so pissed in my whole life. He's never pissed. He's like the nicest human being on the planet. He looked.
Mike, are you talking facial expressions?
Yeah, well, and like I've never seen him like as demonstrative with like the officials and the refs. Like, especially early in the game, he felt like he got fouled a few times, and he was. I don't know. He's usually just Mr. Calm, Cool, Collected out there, and I think it is probably due to the fact that he's not feeling 100% himself. But I think it's going to be part of Kenny's coaching job to kind of get him sat down and say, yeah, we know you don't feel 100%, but like composure has to keep it. Like you have to be out there and just give us whatever you can give us.
It is worth noting, by the way, the injury Jared Allen's going through right now is basically the same injury that kept Steph Curry out for 27 games. So
right, correct.
It's almost the identical thing. And Steph just had an article. I think it was in The Athletic, maybe it was ESPN, but they detailed Steph's recovery, and he said it was so frustrating because 1 minute you feel great, and then the next day you wake up and it feels like you take 10 steps backwards. And there was no linear progression for healing. It was, 3 days of progress and then 1 day back, but the day back was 6 steps worse than the 3 days of progress. So we're going to have to be patient with JA, and I know his prior reputation of being healthy enough to play in the playoffs is not going to get him the benefit of the doubt, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, fair or not, it's just the reality.
Yep.
But yeah, this is not going to be something that heals up if he misses Friday's game and Sunday's game and doesn't play for a week. I think this is an off-season, full-on get off your leg for 2 month situation. So if they can get 16-8 from Jared Allen, they'll live.
Yes.
It's you can't have much less than that if you're going to try beating the likes of Boston. And I don't know how you guys feel about Detroit. I think the Cavs can beat Detroit. I would pick them to beat Detroit, but that is no cakewalk like I think some people are trying to make it out to be.
We're going to have a conversation about that in a minute. But I've got two more like just rotational questions. One, Dean Wade comes back. And I don't...
Yep, played very well tonight.
I know Dean Wade is very polarizing to the people because offensively, he's not an offensive player. He just isn't. I have said for the longest time, the Cavs play really great when Dean Wade shoots the ball 9 or 10 times a game. Unfortunately, Dean generally only shoots the ball like 3 or 4 times a game. But we have talked about the defense of this team. Kenny has talked so much about the defense of this team. And Dean Wade is he feels like the most critical part of that. And to see him back out there tonight, especially early in the game, you just saw a different identity from the Cavaliers with him on the court. And so to see him back out there was great.
Yeah. And look at the third quarter. The run started when Dean Wade, I forget who he picked the pocket of, but went down, got a full court steal into a dunk, ignited the crowd, and next thing you know, they turned a 7-point halftime deficit into a 24-point third quarter win. They went from down 7.5 to up 17 going into the fourth quarter, and it wasn't all Dean Wade by any means. Donovan also went absolutely nuclear in the third quarter. But
Yes.
it started with a Dean Wade defensive play, and all the advanced numbers and metrics back it up. It's just the eye test. He has some games where he is completely invisible, completely forgettable. It's one of those situations where you can look at the box score and it says he played 22 minutes and you can't remember a single thing Dean actually did.
Right.
But his teammates all speak the highest of high regards. Kenny loves him. And, I like numbers. I'm an advanced metrics kind of guy, but I don't think they're the tell-all, be-all. I'm stuck to them. But I think there's a reason the metrics favor Dean Wade over some of the other options. And he's 6'9". He's by the way, he's taller than Jared Allen. Like, if they stood back-to-back and you had them both bald, Dean Wade's taller than Jared Allen. Like, he is legitimate wing size. And Jared Allen's like 6'9".
I don't think Jared Allen's going to sign up for that.
Nah, and he won't shave his fro ever, and he shouldn't. Like, if I had hair like that, I wouldn't shave my head either. But my point is, like, Dean Wade gives you 3 legitimate, large-bodied human beings to guard whoever the other team is putting out there. And it helps that James Harden is a lot bigger of a human than Darius Garland was. But, Donovan's a 6'2" guard who's, has his defensive limitations. James, we know the caliber of defender he's been throughout his career, so you kind of need that frontline help to minimize and negate their kind of shortcomings on that end, and Dean Wade's the best of the options that Kenny has on the bench.
So, Mikey,
I'm a Wade warrior, if you can't tell.
I like Dean Wade too. I think he should be more aggressive offensively. I just think he should, but it is what it is. Mikey, last rotational question.
Yep.
You get into the playoffs. Rotations shrink in the playoffs. What's the ideal Cavs rotation for the playoffs?
Is Jalen Tyson healthy or not?
Yeah. You got to imagine he'll be back.
By the way, all indications point to Jalen being ready to play Friday. So
Yes.
he should be back. But I thought tonight we saw, as currently constituted, Kenny's playoff rotation. It had 9 guys. Schroeder played 14 minutes. By the way, Dennis was a minus 22 in 14 minutes tonight. And I actually thought he played kind of well, which doesn't match the eye test. So I don't know how that happened, but
I love when he drives to the hoop. I love it.
Yeah. I saw the box score and he was a minus 22. I was like, what the hell? Like, but you saw their starting 5, whether it's Dean, whether it's Strus, whether it's Merrill, whether it's Tyson. Dean's going to play. He's going to be part of the rotation. They don't have any other backup big options. Merrill and Strus, you're going to pencil them in. And then I think Keon Ellis and Jalen Tyson are going to be fighting for that 9th spot in the playoff rotation. Who's playing better? Who's hotter? Who has a better week of 2 practices leading into that game? Maybe Kenny goes 10. He did 10 last year in the first round against Indiana in the second round. They cut it down to 8. If you're telling me to pick 8 right now, I guess I would cut Ellis out, and I guess I would cut Tyson just based on the fact he hasn't been as healthy as the other guys and doesn't have the lead up. But it's a good and a bad problem to have. I think you'd rather know exactly who's going to be in your rotation and the exact 8 or 9 guys you're going to war with. But the fact that Kenny has 10 guys, I think he can kind of pick and choose based off matchups. I think a lot of it's going to depend on just who's playing better on that individual night.
Mikey, I take it even a step further. And I am not the biggest Thomas Bryant fan, but he is a momentum changing kind of guy when he's playing the right way. And I'm not talking about when he's shooting 3-pointers. But he always just seems to make like a big defensive play or get a big rebound or like start a fast break. Like he's another big man that like I'd be hard pressed to just be like, you're not in the rotation anymore.
Kenny doesn't. I don't know the answer to why. If I did, I promise I would tell y'all, and I'd tweet it and I put it on UCSS. Kenny, for whatever reason, doesn't fully trust Thomas Bryant.
Oh, I don't either.
And I just think in a playoff series, I don't know how he could put him in. But I also think Thomas Bryant can swing you a playoff game.
Yes.
I think Thomas Bryant can score 14 points in 8 minutes. I also think Thomas Bryant in 8 minutes can go 0 for 7 and be ready to shoot the 8th 3 as soon as the ball comes to him and completely shoot you out of a playoff game. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But I've always said, like, you kind of need that crazy guy on your team. Like, every playoff team has one crazy guy. And I say that as a compliment. Like, I genuinely like Thomas Bryant, and he can play. They don't have a ton of crazy, unpredictable, high-variance guys. Schroeder's the closest to it in the backcourt. Strus has a little bit of the crazy in him, but you kind of know what you're getting from Strus. It's just a matter of how many threes is he going to hit. TB can change the game, and I thought he was awesome against the Pacers. And in spurts, I do think he can help. I'm just not sure he'll be in the consistent rotation considering who else they have available to him. And also, I made it home, so for anyone worried if I was going to crash.
Shout out to you.
Way to go, Mike.
Nice easy drive from Rocket Arena. All right, so let's talk about scenarios real quick, Mikey. Because, man, did it feel like, just before this game almost even, felt a lot like, all right, Cavs look like they're pretty locked into the 4 seed. Hawks look like they're pretty much locked in right behind them. So we could be getting previews of the playoffs, and that still holds true for sure. But now you look at the standings and you go, man, the Raptors are right behind the Hawks, half game back. Cavaliers are a half game behind the Knicks now, and the Knicks have the Celtics tomorrow. So there's a really good chance after tomorrow the Knicks and the Cavs are tied. Knicks do have the tiebreaker, but I don't know. This is the big topic right now. This is the big talk of the town. Do you have a situation you want to happen?
I think two things can be true at the same time. In a perfect world, you don't play Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Boston's the biggest threat in the East. They are championship broom. They got Tatum back. They have Jaylen Brown. They have Joe Mazzulla. Like, that is the team that poses the biggest threat to the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, if you're not playing your best basketball in the playoffs and you're not worried about yourself, you're worried about other outside circumstances, you can get tripped up along the way. So I think more importantly than anything else, the Cavaliers have to be playing their best brand of basketball heading into the playoffs. And how you get there, we could argue 50 different ways. But if the Cavs aren't playing their A version of whatever they can live up to, they might lose to Detroit. They could lose to Atlanta in the first rounds. So ideally, you stay in the 4 seed. You play an unproven Detroit team in the second round. You get all your bearings and you get all those minutes we talked about that they don't have under their belt before you have to play Boston. But I don't think the Cavs are in a situation with their playoff track record, with their lack of continuity, to just kind of finagle and throw these last 2 games completely and say, all right, we know we're ready for a deep playoff run. Let's just flip the switch. Because we have yet to see this iteration of the Cavs have the ability to flip the switch. We have yet to see this iteration of the Cavs play consistently in a playoff scenario for more than 12 minutes like we saw tonight. Great 12 minutes in the third quarter. Shitty 6 minutes to start the fourth. And then
Yes.
So they haven't proven enough to me to say we're good enough to pick our opponent. We want Detroit. We want to avoid Boston for it. Like, the Cavs have to figure out their own shit first. And then let's worry about who they're going to play next.
With how Jekyll and Hyde they've been this season, Mikey, I mean, you as an advanced metrics guy, are you just throwing the papers in the air like, oh, let's see what fucking happens?
It makes no – so Kenny – their three-point defense drives me nuts.
Oh,
And
oh my God.
And I've done some video breakdowns on, like, Kenny swears that teams against them have just gotten the luck of God this year and shoot above their expectation every game. And that might be true. Like, hand up, they have numbers that I have no access to against Memphis. Like, I watched 3 of the guys on Memphis play in the G League 3 weeks ago and get smoked by the Charge, and they couldn't buy a shot at Public Hall. And next thing you know, they're making 6 threes in an NBA game. So there's probably something.
They were also wide open the whole time.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So there's probably something to these guys aren't great shooters. They happen to be making shots. But against Memphis, and by the way, if anyone didn't hear, Memphis made 29 threes, tied the NBA record. They shot 59, only 25 were contested according to NBA tracking data, which means, what's the math? 25, 50, that means 34 of the threes were considered uncontested or open. You can't give up 34. I don't care. Listen, I play D3 basketball. You give me 34 open threes, even from NBA range, I'm making at least 10. Like, I can't dribble anymore. I can still shoot the shit out the rock. Like, 34 uncontested threes in an NBA game. Atlanta took 34 threes tonight total. They gave that same amount to Memphis. Like, yes, the variance plays a role in it, their defensive schematics at times, they overhelp, they get caught. I think it's just the end of the season. They know they're kind of locked into a certain spot. I don't want to give them that excuse, even though I think that's part of the reality. But yeah, as someone who likes numbers, none of this shit makes sense. None of it.
I've said it. And maybe the Memphis game. I'll give you the Memphis game. They felt like they were just there to win a basketball game. And
I mean, LeBron did say no one wants to be in Memphis on a Tuesday, and they happen to be in Memphis on a Monday. So, like, we could chalk it up to that a little bit.
Leave Memphis alone, Mikey. Or LeBron, not you, LeBron. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Memphis alone.
I worked in Tennessee for 3 years. I have the utmost respect for Memphis.
Memphis is all right. I've had a couple good nights in Memphis.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. But you hit on it. I've said it the whole year, all the way through. They play no man's land defense, where they just get caught standing in an area of the floor where they are not helping and they're not guarding their guy. They're just in no man's land. And I don't know why they don't realize that in the NBA, guys can make passes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not hard to find an open guy. And so when you have just drifted off of your guy for no reason, I don't mean to call out Jalen Tyson. He just does it a lot, where he just will be off of his guy for no reason. And the next thing you know, his guy is shooting a wide open three. That is going to lose you a playoff series.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do it. I would rather have Kenny Atkinson say, forget it. One-on-one defense, do not help. Do not even come off your guy unless you're Evan Mobley or Jared Allen. Otherwise, do not help. Than what they do now. The no man's land defense is frightening. It's frightening.
I don't know if I call it no man. Kenny has made it a point that they said they want to protect the paint. They want to give as few shots at the paint as possible. And they actually do a really good job. They're third in the NBA as of this morning in opponent field goal percentage at the rim. So the third lowest of opponents shooting at the rim.
Right.
The issue is teams don't shoot a ton of shots at the rim. There's like 14th in the NBA opponent field goal attempts at the rim because teams get into the paint, kick out, and it's open threes. The Cavs' biggest issue, and I think the best way, once again, it's easier said than done, the best way to cut off some of these open threes is they stay in front of their guys on the perimeter. Like, they get beat off the dribble nonstop.
Yes.
People get into the paint. Then the Cavs are forced to collapse, kick outs, and, yeah, like, it goes back to what I said earlier about flipping the switch. We can chalk a lot of it up to effort. And maybe that's the case. I refuse to believe over the course of 30-something games with James Harden, it's all just effort-based, and all of a sudden, I can't snap with my right hand. I'm holding my phone with my left. Let me switch. Snap like that. The playoffs, we're going to see this increased level of
really
effort.
Good.
Thank you. That's why I get paid the big bucks to talk about sports. Yeah.
We got to work on that right-hand snap, though.
I'm a left-handed dominant player. I can't make a layup with my right hand. I can't snap with my right hand. I can't brush my teeth with my right hand. Lefty all the way. But, like, I just refuse to believe that it's all effort-based. And if they could do a better job of the perimeter, just staying in front of the guys, playing basically like shell defense. Because you mentioned Jalen Tyson gets lost. Keon Ellis has had some high highs on defense. He gets lost way too often.
Yes.
Dennis Schroeder, once again, can be a pest on ball in the full court, but in the half court, when there's some simple back screens and pin downs, he seems to get lost. Donovan gets lost. They have too many guys that seem to be trying to do too much. And I'll use a football analogy, but do you guys remember Asante Samuel, the old cornerback for the Patriots?
Of course.
He liked to jump passes, right? Like his thing was, I may get burned a few times, and I'm going to get a bunch of interceptions, and those turnovers will make up for the fact that I'm going to get burned. The Cavs, I feel like, are trying to be Asante Samuel. You could have one Asante Samuel. You can't have four Asante Samuels in the court at the same time. You're going to get snapped with double moves. You're going to get way too many 20-yard completions and explosive plays, and that is not a sustainable way to play defense. And I feel like the Cavs, heading into the playoffs, you have Evan Mobley, you have Jared Allen, you have two legitimate elite-level rim protectors. Just stay in front of guys, and if you do get beat, you got the 7-footers behind you to clean up the mess. But don't have to collapse. You don't have to corral all this extra help on drives if you're not so aggressive at trying to get these steals that you may get 2-3 a game, but I don't think that's enough of a difference to justify the risk.
Having said all of this, because it's been weirdly kind of negative surrounding the Cavs,
Shockingly,
even though they are still
win.
kind of on a tear. Like they
win a lot.
They win
a
a
lot.
ton of their games. Having said all of this, I want to go back to a point you made before, and then we're going to let you out of here. But you made the point about the seeding, 3 seed, 2 seed, 4 seed, whatever. This was the point. I got asked this in a TikTok, and I responded to it. This was my point. It's the old Ric Flair saying, to be the best, you got to beat the best, right?
Yep.
But I don't like that saying for the Cavs. To be the best, you got to be the best.
Mike,
And that, I think, what?
are you here, Mikey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's here.
Okay.
He was just very still. He's stoic.
No, I'm
Oh,
here.
Joe.
I'm here.
Joe's the one that dropped out. What an idiot.
It's also to be the man, you got to beat the man. If you're going to do wrestling puns, Mike, you got to get it right, okay?
All right. Whatever. But like for the Cavs, I don't think it's about who you beat. In order to get to the NBA Finals, you're going to have to beat Boston. And then whether that's in the second round, and then you got to be, if I beat Boston, I feel like I'm going to beat the Knicks.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about the Knicks. The Knicks do not concern me.
I'm with you.
I actually am more concerned about Detroit than I am the Knicks.
Cosign, hand up.
So I don't care if I have to go through Boston and the Knicks or Detroit and then Boston or whatever. In order for me to get to where I want to go, I'm going to have to get through that gauntlet. And then on the other side of that, it's going to be Oklahoma City or San Antonio or, well, certainly not if Wembanyama is not healthy or whatever. But like, a lot of people right now are really caught up in this. Do you want the 4 seed or the 3 seed or whatever? I'm like, I don't care. Just get in and play good basketball and if the Cavs are the best version of the Cavs, they can beat anybody.
Yeah, and I'll leave. I guess I'll leave it at this. Indiana last year was the 4 seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Indiana caught fire in the second half of the season.
Yep.
Indiana was playing arguably as good of basketball as any team, East or West, entering the playoffs. The Cavs had won 64 regular season games. They had put up a point differential that had basically never been seen before in the Eastern Conference. One of 15 teams that ever had won 64 or more games on a point differential of 14 points or 13 points or better. I forget the exact number. And guess what Indiana said? I don't care.
Bye.
We're playing better basketball than you right now. We beat Milwaukee in the first round. We didn't try and duck, dodge, and weave a wrench or a 1 seed just to face whoever the 2 seed was. Like, no, they played their best basketball as you got to the playoffs. You get hot. And it's like momentum matters so much in this stuff. And go look at, go back as far as you want. The bubble year with LeBron winning the championship in Miami. Like, obviously, the layoff helps some of the older legs on LA regain their speed and mojo, and they catch fire. Denver, when they won the championship, was on an absolute roll in March and April. They go on to win a championship. OKC last year, hot, goes to the finals, wins the championship over an Indiana team that was equally as hot. The teams that win the championship, yes. Oftentimes, the hottest teams heading to the playoffs are also teams that have been hot all season. But sometimes, man, you get hot at the right time, it negates what you did in the first 65 games of the year. Those last 20 games, in my opinion, are so much more important than what happened in October and November when Darius Garland was still on this team and DeAndre Hunter was still sucking up minutes on this team. So I hear everyone's complaint. Yes, you want to play Boston as late as possible in a perfect world. I'm more concerned about, can the Cavs get their shit in a row and play their best version of basketball? And against whoever's in the first round, can that continue into the second round? If it's against Detroit, if it's against New York, if it's against Boston, so be it. If the Cavs aren't on their A game, they could lose to any of those 3 teams. And if they are on their A game, they can absolutely beat Boston. They can absolutely and should beat Detroit. And I'm with you. The Knicks don't scare me. They should smoke the Knicks.
Dodge a wrench, dodge a ball. You also drink your own urine because you like the taste.
Great movie. Like, it's still to this day, one of my all-time favorites.
It holds up. It
does.
I like
sure.
it. I like it because it's sterile. I like the taste. All right, Mikey. Listen, man, we had a nice car ride with you. We got you all the way from Rocket Arena back home. Nice, easy drive. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you, as always, for being a friend of the show.
Of course.
Sorry you couldn't have a beer with us. I'm glad you didn't have a beer with us tonight because that would have been
some
legality issues.
Do
But-
not drink and drive.
Do not do that ever. But again, you can always catch Mikey, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and online. But again, we were grateful for this earlier in the show, and I'm going to tell you this: the Cavaliers have some incredible people who cover them, and we feel very fortunate that many of them are just our friends here, from the Chase Down guys to Danny Cunningham. To Mac online, a lot of online guys. And you are also one of the best at covering the Cavaliers. And we love the fact that that you come on and join us. So appreciate you. Hopefully we get a long playoff run. And then maybe what we'll do at the end of it, when the Cavs are hoisting the trophy, is we just get everybody on one big ass podcast.
Let's
Drink
do
a
it.
bunch of beers and we celebrate a championships. How about we do that?
Count me in, and I'll do it from my couch where I don't have to move.
There we go.
Sounds a lot better.
Love that. All right, Mikey, thanks for coming on with us. We'll talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
guys. Anytime.
See you, Mike.
All right, Mikey McNuggets joining us from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, talking about the Cavs. Love that, dude. Joe being weird and
Crazy.
telling us that our internet sucks.
Mike?
Yours.
Literally, like you and Chad both completely froze, and Mikey was crystal clear, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I can't talk Cavs ball. I don't have the subscriptions. I can't do this. And so I started talking to Mikey, and he was probably like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?"
No, I don't think anybody heard you.
No, I
Mikey
heard him.
heard me.
I heard you.
Yeah, because I said, "Mikey, are you still there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here."
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
heard that. And then you were gone.
And I was
Yeah.
gone.
Like,
Yeah.
Big stupid idiot. All right, it's 11 o'clock, so we got to get out of here. But let's do our cheers for the week. So, who wants to lead off? Cheers of the week.
You go, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go?
Sure.
Okay. Hold on, I gotta pull mine up. There it is. I saved it this week. You'll not believe it. Okay.
Wow.
I said I was going to allude to this very early in the show when I was talking about watching like Anthony Bourdain, Cleveland. But I want to give a cheers to Joakim Noah. While we're still talking basketball, if you have not watched, so Joakim Noah does a show on YouTube called Nomad. And I've only seen the one episode. But if you have not watched his episode about Cleveland, please go watch it. It is awesome. It is all about like Joakim Noah making amends with the city of Cleveland. And like, you know, again, during his playing time, he was like, what was his famous quote about Cleveland was like, "You think Cleveland is cool? I never heard anybody say I want to go vacation in Cleveland." And it made him just the ultimate villain and bad guy in Cleveland. And he did this episode of his show, Nomad, and he just had a great time in Cleveland. And he went to like Slyman's for a sandwich, and he went to Market Garden and just had beers with like random people. And he went to a Cavs game, and he was like, I wanna just hang out in Cleveland and see how it is. And he loved it. And it's a great episode. So I would highly encourage you to go to YouTube and watch Joakim Noah's Nomad Cleveland episode. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Number 2, I'm going back to outer space, baby. But this is one of the coolest. This is one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen in my whole life. I want to give a shout out to the crew of the Artemis mission. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but if you saw it, you're going to know immediately. And if you tell me it didn't bring a tear to your eye, I'm going to call you a whole ass liar. And you're going to be my asshole of the week next week. Shout out to the Artemis crew. They were on the dark side of the moon, and they saw things that had never been seen before, and they were going to name some things. So there were 2 things that they got to name, 2 like craters or whatever on the moon that they got to name. And one they called Integrity because that's the name of their actual vessel. That's the name they gave it. So they gave one crater the name Integrity. And then they got on the phone, and one of the guys read off this beautiful speech that I cannot regurgitate, but they named one of the craters Carol. And Carol was the first name of one of the astronauts up there, Reed Wiseman. His wife died of cancer when she was in her 40s. And he just gave this insanely cool speech about what Carol meant, what she represented, and how this is such a great representation of Carol. And then there was this video of all four of them in zero gravity. Reed Wiseman couldn't even like contain himself. He was just trying to hug everybody. And they embraced in the ship. And it was so cool. It was so cool. So that is a moment that I will remember for a long time. And I think it's really cool. So they get a cheers. Those are my cheers of the week.
Joey, what you got?
I got a follow up space in that story. Okay.
I'm telling you, I
second
came
to
ready.
that was first year going to the home opener for the home and away for the Guardians. And got my home opening day balls to prove it. I will say
got
that
your balls.
the Mariners put this nice, Seattle logo on the side of it, and then we did. What was this? Why are we doing that?
Oh, that's weird.
That's weird, right? Kind of
Nice progressive advertisement.
But incredible. I've seen 3 Chase DeLauder home runs already. 2 wins for the Gardos. Incredible start to the season, and very thankful to be able to do that. Both experiences with family. So cheers to that experience.
Hell yeah. Chad.
My cheers goes to a guy I work with. His name is Joe Vendetta. He was out for 3 months. He left. Well, let me go back to the beginning. Comes to work. Let us know he has stage 4 cancer.
Shit.
And they don't think he doesn't think he's going to be back at all. And then so we all said our goodbyes. It was really sad time. Then this past weekend, he shows up and says he's all clear.
Fuck yeah.
Stage 4. So just a miracles
Right.
miracles do happen. And yeah, and he's back. He's in remission. He's here. So
Joe, you just missed 4 months of work, dude. You're fired.
Yeah, goodbye. Later, bro. Like happy you're still here, but you need to find another job.
Brother, you just no-showed us for like 4 months. Like that cannot happen.
Sucks to be you, but like you're happy, but you're poor.
Oh, that's a great story. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah.
He's in the clear.
Yeah, in the clear. Miracles,
Damn.
dude. Like it. He to this day he doesn't know how it happened. Everything was bleak, but all of a sudden it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. Oh, how
Awesome.
about Phil is not a bot? They cure cancer nowadays. I'm a cancer survivor since 2007. Hell yeah, Phil. Cheers
Hell
to
yeah.
Phil. Cheers to cancer survivors. Fuck that disease.
Let's go.
I know they do cure cancer nowadays, and yet they don't too, and it's the worst. It's just the worst. So we love you, Phil. We love Joe. We not met Joe, but we love Joe, and that was a great one to end on, Chad. That was great.
Yeah.
All right.
He's from Albany, New York, and he says balls.
Bulls.
Balls.
Bulls.
Yeah.
My bull. You're breaking my balls.
He does. He found a Zima type liquor the other day. One of these a couple years ago called Balls. He sent it to us.
Oh yeah. Why don't you go back to America and drink your Zimas and your Smirnoff Ices?
Balls.
Balls. All right, that's going to do it. Man, we have run for a long time tonight on episode 309, but it was worth it. Let's do our thank yous and get out of here. First thank you goes to the OBR for hosting us. I will put it up on the screen, the QR code. You just got to scan it with your phone and you can subscribe. Hit that QR code with your phone. Subscribe to the OBR for all of the best Cleveland Browns coverage in all the land. That's the OBR.com. Big thank you to our special guest, Mikey McNuggets. Worth the wait, man. Worth the wait, as he gave us a lot of great stuff on the Cavaliers as they come off their win against the Hawks and now just a couple games left on the season. Bulls.
Hey, I tried hitting the QR code with my phone. It did not work.
I don't care. Your phone's stupid and I don't trust your internet. So shout out to Mikey for coming on from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You go check him out there. And our last thank you and our biggest thank you, as always, goes out to all of you, whether you joined us live tonight, the comments were great, or whether you catch us later on demand or on YouTube, Twitch, wherever you watch us. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for joining us. That's going to do it for episode 309. For Joey Whalen out there in Seattle, For Chad Meyer on the east side of Cleveland, I am Michael Keefe saying this has been a blast. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, as always, cheers, everybody.